What's happening? I have to check my mic. There we go. There we go. Much better. Much, much better. All right. Greetings and salutations, everyone. What's going on out there? Robert Phoenix. Coming at you live from the 830. Peachy has now abandoned the chair because I have another chair over here that has a coat on it. And she likes this coat. So she's with us, except she's in her own little cocoon of bliss. Hey, are you going to join us? Hey. Hey. No, she's oblivious. She's having a catter day. Hey. Let me see if I can get her. Now it's a challenge. It's me versus the cat. Hey. Hey. Is she deaf? Hey. All right. We'll let her be. She's having a grooming moment. What's going on, everybody? It is officially the 5th of December. And we are winging our way 20 days, a mere 20 days until, hey, come on over here. Come on over here. Come on. Come on. Come on. You coming over here? You coming here? Are you coming over here? I've lost out to the coat. Anyway, mere 20 days until Christmas. I hope everybody is getting into the spirit of things, the spirit of the holidays. You know, Sagittarius is one of those months where our mood is lifted, appreciably lifted. People are theoretically generous and feeling much more expansive with their time and their energy, their effort, and their spirit in general. Although, based on the weather and this Mars retrograde, I'm not sure it's going to be a very Merry Christmas. So you're going to have to do your best to keep the light inside of you as we approach the darkest time of the year, because up here in the Northern Hemisphere, that's exactly what's happening. We're approaching the darkest time of the year. And it's ironic that the light of the spirit is in some ways required to be the brightest at the same time. I give you the story of Scrooge and what the hell? The story of Scrooge and Bob Cratchit, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. You know, Scrooge is us as we age. Scrooge is us as we age into the year. The year is old, theoretically, from the Julian side of things, right? The Gregorian side of things. And the Cratchit family is the warmth of the spirit, right? They may not have much, but they have each other, and they have hope for a better day. Whereas Scrooge is dwindling in the light of the year. It's kind of a metaphor, isn't it, for this time? All right. Let's do a little check-in and see what we have here, who we have. There he is, batting leadoff. Number one from your Orinda Warriors, Michael Cisternino. We got Janice Phillips in the house. What or who's unspeakable? Oh. We have some curiosity. Yes. I am going to take you into a world today that you never knew existed. And maybe afterwards you're probably wondering or thinking you were better off not knowing. Let's see. We got Christina Jerzyk. What's happening, CJ? Sigurd, I think he's a YouTuber or some Zoomer scrote. Well, yes, he is. And as I went into the world of Unspeakable, I found unfathomable, totally unfathomable data that is related to Unspeakable, which we'll talk about. Janice wrenched her back. Uh-oh. I thought it might be Hitler, but then I remember he was born April 4th. Yeah, no Hitler. No, I haven't done. Have I done Hitler's chart? I don't think so. I don't think I have. On 30th birthday, the second coming by the Stone Roses. The Stone Roses, a great flash in the pan, if there ever was one. But it begat the great Ian Brown, who's one of my favorite artists. So shout out to the Stone Roses and Ian Brown. Ian Brown having the same birthday, different year, but same birthday as Kurt Cobain. Misbehaving Twos here. Let's see who else we have. It's just a bit of male pattern music trivia. Barbara Boots. Windy and cold. That's what it's supposed to be. It's wintertime. Laura E. checking in from the snow globe. There she is, the queen of speed. Unconditional love and hugs for all of you. Lana Winkler, she's here. Tundra weather. Woke up to 9 degrees. Holy smokes. And the Pyrenees Husky mix wants to play outside. Oh, yeah. It is a playground for that Pyrenees Husky. No doubt. Jackie Delario, very informative perspectives of Nietzsche. Now I know why I had so much trouble finishing his works. Nietzsche is a hard nut to crack, but I did my best to break it down into bite-sizable chunks and to relate it to a current social political beast, which has infused itself with the Nietzschean principles. So if you didn't catch that, that's over on Rumble. Eric Adams is switching parties. Well, after you get your house raided, there's probably a pretty good chance you might throw yourself behind the current administration. There she is, the lovely and talented one, saving Austin one tooth at a time. Thor at the door. There's Steve. Wit's Entropy. Hey, Wit. What's going on? Laura E. Janine. Oh, yeah, we had a nice little reading there with Rosie yesterday. That was great. Big Dave Sullivan, Katie Cat, Kelly B., Harriet Bowie, Deborah R., Tom Jordan in the house. My Endless Road. Is that greetings from the 716? Sorsha. I got it. Sorsha My McMahon, check it in. Moonsprout, Sun Tzu left Texas to return to California. This channel, my daily connection to sanity. Kelly B's got selective hearing. How about that? $5 on the cat. The cat wins. Totally snubbed. Always. It's always on their terms. Neil Smith, what's going on, brother? Maya Rose in the house. Yes, it's peachy. I've lost out to the coat. No, there's no time. Why Kitty being stubborn? Because she's got the coat. The coat is her thing right now. TDF, happy day, everyone. Warlanda's here. Do I have a final sip left? I have one final sip in your honor, Warlanda. I look cool today, you know. Getting a good night's sleep helps. Let's say hi to Claire and Len Finca-Feliz. Rainbow season has started. Feline indifference remains undefeated. You got that right. Interstellar Cosmic Communications with Patricia. God bless us, everyone. There you go. I think we're here. My daughter watches Unspeakable. See, there you go. We have context. Everything is about context, isn't it? Let's get into the weather. No more messing around here. It's weather time. It is weather time. All right, we got Mars at station right now. We have hit the peak We have hit the Mars peak, and it's all downhill from here. I'm not a doomer, but I'm also not anyone to sugarcoat the truth. I try to be fair and balanced in both my optimism and cynicism. And this Mars retrograde is going to be it's going to be some tough sledding here. I can tell you that right now. Tough sledding. Already talked about yesterday how this Christmas is going to be not the most abundant Christmas. So I think we're going to see retail way down. People are maxed out on their credit cards. It's going to be it's not about quantity. It'll be about quality during this holiday season. But I also feel that, Mars in Cancer is crabby. It's very crabby. And I feel like what we're all going to have to be on guard about in general is taking things really personally, right? Because Cancer is one of these signs that's very subjective. So we have this retrograde coming. I think Mars and Cancer in general, like I think there are two Marses that are passive aggressive. It's Mars in Cancer and it's Mars in Libra. Mars in Libra is more aggressive than passive, and Mars in Cancer is more passive than aggressive. But they're both looking for balance, right? Like if you look at Libra, it's the scales, and it's trying to balance perspective, situations, emotions, etc. Cancer is also about balance, right? It's about the yin and the yang, and the two of them working in harmony together. And when we have Mars retrograde, what's happening is we're really searching for some kind of balance emotionally, right? Now, I talked at length. I have talked at length about the remoralization of male energy, right? And when Mars goes retrograde in Cancer, something is out of balance, right? It's either the feminine or it's the masculine, right? Or something has been out of balance. It's either the feminine or the masculine. So the way this cuts in both directions, and we've seen sort of the attack of the blue hairs and their threats of blue bracelets or chopping off their mammary glands, right, or moving to other countries. So there's that on the feminine side, right? Like, is there going to be more of a hard reset on the feminine side? I mean, that's an interesting thing to think about with Mars and Cancer. Are we going to see more conservative or more traditional approaches to femininity? Are women who are more traditionally feminine going have they had enough, right? Because the social landscape and the narrative has been dominated by women who have in a lot of ways sold other women out. Look at this thing with Ketanji Brown Jackson and now Sotomayor, both women, both minorities, who are equating this whole transgender thing with mixed marriages and racial inequality. So this is some Mars Cancer retrograde material, right? This is going to backfire because they did not get the memo. These women did not get the memo that narrative is rapidly coming to an end. And so when the bottom drops out of the support for that narrative, at one point, those voices might have sounded to some people important or enlightened or compassionate, right? Now they sound cartoonish. And it's like the emperor has no clothes, Because remember, Cancer is about looking backwards. It's about going back into time. It's a sign that is all about nostalgia. And so when we have Mars retrograde in Cancer, and people are putting forward these quote unquote progressive ideas, and progressive means you're progressing, right? You're moving forward and into the future. Mars in Cancer will not accept that. It will not accept those kinds of ideas and those kinds of absolutely shrill and tuneless narratives, right? So there's going to be a major backlash from what I would call traditional women, like putting their foot down. We've had enough. And I think the phrase "shut the fuck up, bitch" is going to become much more prevalent, right? Much, much more prevalent. So that's just one application of Mars retrograde Cancer. So I'm going to start here at the sort of the positive side, right? I think for Mars retrograde Cancer, also men, right? Men being the protectors of the home, right? Mars Cancer is very protective, extremely protective. So it's also moving back into a position where men theoretically have to assume this role, that they are the protectors and the keepers of the home. So when we get into that, we also get into things like home defense and firearms. On 15 minutes, I'm going to do my best to drop into the whole Scott Thompson thing today, which is completely bizarre. And, the unintended consequences of that would be, oh, look, somebody used a firearm to kill a CEO of a major healthcare corporation. Maybe we should look at suspending firearms or limiting firearms, right? I mean, so this is very Mars and Cancer-y. It can be very reactionary, very, very reactionary. And it also feels like, I talk to a lot of people, and the general sense that I get is that everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people are waiting for the next shoe to drop, that something big is coming, right? I mean, you have the left. Just think about this for a second now. During the summer of 2020, the left had a freaking army. It was like a swarm of locusts that descended upon the streets and cities and towns of America, looting, burning, tearing down statues. And what were people doing? Hey, would you like some water? How'd you like some water? Hey, can I shine your shoes? Hey, let me take a knee. I'll take a knee. I'm with you. I'm an ally. So we saw all that. Where is it? Where is it? Because that these are armies on demand. Have they all grown up and had kids now? Are they paying mortgages? Are they paying extra for Disney Plus now? When they can't afford to go out and take to the streets? Just keep an eye on that. Right? Keep an eye. That's like the sleeping giant. Right? The sleeping giant. And this Mars retrograde, which is going to be retrograde for a while, it's going to be very, very interesting. And the motions are going to be very intense. Very intense. We're going to come back again here. Mars at 0 Leo, right? We had it once, kind of got through that, but the retrograde, we're going to have Mars at 0, either 0 Leo with 0 Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn, or when it moves forward, I think it might be around 1. But we're going to have 2 more Mars-Pluto oppositions coming backwards and going forwards again. And the one coming backwards is the one that I think is the most concerning. And that's about 6 degrees from now. So keep your eye on that. And I just feel like in general, Mars in Cancer retrograde is going to be prickly. It is a prickly energy, because also keep in mind the next sign over is Capricorn. So this Mars is going to be retrograding into the opposite sign that the sun will be moving into. So the sun never goes retrograde. It just moves forward and forward and forward, right? But in this instance, Mars, which is the other planet that's connected to energy and heat, right? It's doing its opposite direction. So there's this Mars retrograde has a lot of disassembling and tearing down. Some of it might be good, but some of it could be very raw and blistering, right? And there's clearly going to be a time where people will have these shocking moments of remembering of what it was like, what life used to be like. And for some people, you'll see a desperate attempt to kind of return to like those spaces. And if you're looking to make America great again, or at least energize the sloganeering, well, Mars retrograde Cancer is your transit. But what's the Thomas Wolfe saying? You can never go home again. And to some extent, that's true. So reimagining Mars and Cancer is going to have to be a priority. It's always good for domestic activities, shoring up your home, cooking, baking, all the things that we associate with Cancerian life. Mars retrograde can be quite good for that. So kind of reinforcing, retrenching, rebuilding, like all those things. You know, if you have to spend money with the Mars retrograde, make sure it's on your domestic situation, because it's going to be a worthwhile investment ultimately. But I don't really feel like it's a convivial, celebratory period here, right? There's also something very moral about Cancer. And that Mars retrograde is sort of the reacquisition of a type of morality. It's you know, in the big picture, like things have gone too far. I think people, you know, the election of Trump is a referendum on that. But things have gone too far, and people are really counting on Trump to set or reestablish some normative values. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens. Because if Trump doesn't, people will in their own way. And honestly, that's the way it should be. Let's move on to the sun. Today, we've got the sun at 13, Sagittarius. We are now in the Aries decan, where we talk about Aries sorts of things, like taking a gun onto the streets of New York and killing a CEO of a major health company. Aries, of course, represents firearms. And are we going to have the firearm lecture? Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's coming. Sun square Saturn. We need to make more laws, stricter laws about the use of handguns and firearms. Of course, it happened in New York City, which has some of the strictest handgun laws in the country, right? So I'm sure we're about to be lectured on that. Mercury retrograde, a revisiting of what it is, or what it's like to actually own, carry, and operate a firearm. I guarantee you that assailants, the firearm that was used there, it was like a 9mm with a suppressor. By the way, it is not easy to attain suppressors. If you want to get a suppressor, it's like applying for your fucking pilot's license. I mean, literally, you have to be approved. There's all these hoops you have to jump through. You have to apply as a corporation, believe it or not. Right? It's very bizarre, the acquisition of a suppressor. I guarantee you that shooter did not go through those hoops. Right? So 9mm, which is the most common. This is another interesting factoid. The 9mm ammo or round is the most affordable that you can get in the firearm world. So look for talk about the deadly 9mm. Now, when you see that, right, that guy was hired. He was hired. I'll talk more about it on 15 minutes, but just be ready. Be ready for the gun control talk. The gun control lecture is coming. Mercury's Saturn square, Mercury retrograde, right? And also Mars Cancer retrograde, the ability to defend oneself, castle doctrine. Now, obviously, in the streets of New York, it's really weird in some ways. If you're the CEO of a major corporation, wouldn't you have a bodyguard? Now, maybe most people wouldn't recognize Scott Thompson. But if you were a corporation and the CEO is really important, I mean, think about it. The CEO is the brain trust of your corporation. As a corporation, wouldn't you have a bodyguard for your CEO? If your corporation, one that's as big and powerful as United Health, we'll talk more about that later. But it's an interesting kind of factoid to wrap your head around. Venus slowly creeping into Aquarius. Slowly creeping into Aquarius. So we're going to have a Venus-Mars opposition here shortly. The battle of the sexes. Billie Jean King versus Bobby Riggs. Ceres conjunct Venus. I think this is, honoring our senior citizens, the older folks in our society, which are often left by the wayside. Don't forget them this holiday season. Reach out to them, send them. I got to do that myself. My mom's friends were so good and kind to her. I got to get some Christmas cards together for these people and let them know that they're valued and worthy, even though they may have voted for Kamala Harris. No, I think a lot of older people probably voted for Trump, except for the older people at my mother's church. I don't think so. Anyway, it's like nurture. Let's nurture the wise ones in our society, right? Because a lot of these Pluto and Cancer people, the Pluto and Cancer people that have survived the Pluto retrograde through Cancer, a lot of these people are going to live well into their 90s. So we're not getting rid of them anytime soon, unless, of course, some other pandemic comes around. The moon is now in Aquarius conjunct Pluto. And what's interesting here with the moon, you get these conjunctions going on, right? You got a moon-Venus conjunction by degree, moon-Pluto conjunction. And this is a very odd conjunction, isn't it? Like the moon in Aquarius is very detached, but when it conjuncts Pluto, it's also very obsessive, right? It's very, very obsessive. For me, this has a lot to do with surveillance and spying. And I would not be, so this is an interesting piece of information. I follow Thomas Massey on Twitter, and I almost retweet everything he puts out there. And I'm going through the throes of this with my own license renewal right now. But the United States government set up something called Real ID, that all the states have to conform to Real ID. That means that your ID, i.e. your license, is part of a federal database. It's not just part of the state of Maine database or the state of Louisiana or the state of California or the state of Texas database. No, everybody's ID is rounded up into one centralized database with the idea that it would separate citizens from non-citizens. And Massey basically said, hey, a lot of you were for this now, But guess where it's headed? It's headed towards some ubiquitous kind of centralized control over your identity. So Massey's on it, right? He understands it. He's one of the few people in Congress. Notice how he has not been given an appointment by Trump. I find that to be quite telling in a lot of ways. One of the most competent people in the United States federal government has not been offered anything. And it's okay. Let him do his thing. I feel like this is today, keep your eyes on privacy scandals and surveillance. But some of this bleeds over into the Brian Thompson thing with the cameras, right? And capturing death. I mean, this is really what we've seen. Like Pluto is death, and the moon in Aquarius is the camera. It's the lens. I am a camera, right? That's the moon in Aquarius. So this is also the normally neutral and objective and detached moon is not so objective and detached, right? It has intensity embroiled in it. It's like, on the one hand, we've seen this camera capture this death in all of its grisly fact. By the way, he doesn't just shoot him once or twice. He goes up there, he empties the clip on the guy, right? This is probably one of the most visceral exhibitions a hit, right? Does it inform us or does it desensitize us? So there's going to be a lot of crime, right? Like there's pictures of that guy at Starbucks. What if Starbucks So I got knocked off of StreamYard. I don't know what's going on here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, just at the critical moment of information. Yeah, got that right. Let me do a reboot. All right, so we're back. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Just like on Sunday night when I was getting into the meat of what I was trying to say with David and Evan, all of a sudden my connection. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's your Pluto moon and Aquarius moment personified. So I'm talking about pre-crime, right? This is what we're talking about. We're talking about pre-crime. And people are going to have a discussion about pre-crime. It's going to come out into the public space because that guy left a cookie trail of imagery along the way. Well, what would have happened if one of these cameras that is equipped with a pre-crime technology spotted him. Well, Brian Thompson wouldn't be dead now, would he? Again, we'll talk more about that. But this is a hot button topic with this Moon-Pluto conjunction. And we have the Sun square Saturn, hard square, right on the nose, 1356, 1303. So this is not jolly. Right? This is not a jolly time. This is not a jolly season. Now, when the sun gets to about 18 degrees, 19 degrees, 6 days, 7 days from now, right? Yeah, it gets a little more jolly. As it moves into a square with Neptune, maybe a little too jolly. But this is not a jolly time, especially as Mars stations, right? The goodwill with the sun trining Mars it's there, but it's kind of peaked already. And now it's about to drop backwards. And people are going to be, I say, just a tad less jolly than we are normally infused with at this time. This is not the greatest holiday chart or assemblage of celestials, right? And what's also interesting here is Chiron. Chiron's at 19 degrees. And the United States has Chiron in Aries at 20 degrees. So it's going to come back again and hit that 20th degree. I guarantee you they're going to start to talk about guns again. And this shooting on the streets of New York is going to be the catalyst for it. Again, we'll have more about that on the next show. All right. I need to do some CBD. I need to get my jolly mood up. Let's see what's going to help me today in my quest to. It's going to be Solara. I'm going to have a little Solara. The energy of the sun. Look at that. Look at that amber. Look at that amber elixir. There we go. Ho, ho, ho. I was talking with a good friend of the show yesterday. And this is somebody who is well-traveled in the world of CBD and THC and have tried products from other people in the CBD space. Somebody, there are wine connoisseurs. This fellow is a CBD THC connoisseur. And he's with me on Chris that his ability to source the CBD, refine it, and tinker and bring his mad chemistry to his products is unparalleled, right? So it's not just me. Being enthusiastic about my friend's products. Third parties will attest to this. So all you got to do is spend $100 or more. By the way, great stocking stuffers. Even if you get the order, right, and you get the goodie bag, this is a great little stocking stuffer. It's like, oh, what's this? Well, why don't we try them? We'll make the mood a little more merry. So $100 or more, type in 15MINS, and you will get the goodie bag. $100, $150 more, get your free shipping. There's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's truehempscience.com, your one-stop shop for all things CBD. All right. Let's get into this. Our star of the day. All right. I was going to make our star of the day Walt Disney. Let me do this. Hold on. Zoom out. View. Zoom out. View. Zoom out. View. I guess we're close. One more. Zoom out. View. Okay. So the True Hemp Science star of the day is Unspeakable. Now, when I saw the name Unspeakable, I'm like, who the fuck is Unspeakable? I looked and an entire world opened up to me. This guy's worth $24 million. And as you can see, he's fairly young, born in 1997, Houston, Texas. And he started playing Minecraft at a young age, like around 8 years old or something. He became incredibly skilled at Minecraft. And you know, these gamers, they play their shit online, right? So he gained a reputation as being a Minecraft whiz. Well, as he's grown older, he has stayed with the Minecraft game, and he's created all kinds of programming because he is very popular. Not only that, but he has his own line of merch. Like, it's pretty remarkable that somebody of his age has amassed such wealth. So you can tell here he has purchased a very fast car, a very expensive car, and he's going to launch this metal brick onto the target of the car. This is what people who have a lot of YouTube cash do. They do outrageous stunts. So he's got a whole platform of interactivity that he makes huge amounts of money from. So I'm like, okay, well, let's look at this chart. So what do people do at home? What do kids do at home? They play video games in the home. So what does Mr. Unspeakable have? He's got Uranus, Jupiter, and the moon in the fourth house. Everything is below the horizon, and yet this guy is an incredibly well-known, at least in his circles, right, internet celebrity. So this whole idea that you have to have planets above the horizon in order to be famous, like the 10th house, completely inverts the model. Because playing Minecraft and video games and being online all takes place in the fucking home. And he's got the moon there and Jupiter there. Uranus is technological. This is where this guy makes his bones, right? And what's going on? He's got this Uranus-Pluto sextile. Well, of course, that's going to be generational, but it's also feeding in via chain reaction to his Jupiter and his moon. He's got a Sun-Pluto conjunction, right? It's wide. It's 8 degrees, but people have Sun-Pluto conjunctions are very powerful, and they have the ability to access deep amounts of resources. People think Pluto is just death and intensity and ripping you apart, cell by cell, spiritual filament by filament. It's more than that. Like, Pluto is power, right? And this guy is jacked into it. And not only that, but he's got this Sun Jupiter sextile, right? Sun Moon sextile. He's got the sun in the second house, so he's gonna be engaged in the material world. This guy's making bucks. He's ringing the cash register, and it's planetary. I can tell you that right now. It is freaking planetary. And he's got some discipline because he has a sun trine Saturn, right? This guy's got a goal. He's got a goal. Saturn's actually the highest planet in the chart. And it's right there in the 6th house. Well, it's 5th going into the 6th. So he wants to be the biggest. He wants to be the best. He wants to be numero uno. I can tell you right now he's not. But that's not stopping him, right? Something happened to him around the age of 12, right? 11, 13. Like, something happened to him. Maybe he was thwarted. I don't know. That's a turning point for this dude, right? That's a turning point. Because he has Chiron right on the ascendant. Now, if you look at him, he's got some male pattern baldness there. He's always wearing a cap. The dude has no hair. which at the age of what? 27? Is that right? 27? Yeah, it's kind of rough, right? So maybe he started losing his hair when he was young. Maybe around 13, he's got male pattern baldness. I don't know, right? But something, especially with Scorpio, he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna overcompensate for whatever flaw or weakness that I have." And look, he's got Leo on the midheaven. And again, this is a really good example of you don't really have to have any planets in the 10th house in order to reach the world. Leo in the midheaven is the performer, it's the actor. And clearly, this guy has spent an inordinate amount of time performing and acting, even if it's for people under the age of 17, doesn't really matter. He's got his true node in Virgo, so he's going to work, right? And that true node is leading into the 11th house. And the 11th house is the online space. And he also has Juno in the 11th house as well, in Virgo. So he's always trying to cook up something new. I think the hardest part for him is probably his relationship life in a lot of ways. He's got Mars, Venus, Neptune, all in the third house. Mars in the third house is incredibly restless, right? And this guy needs a challenge. Mars, Saturn square. He also has Mars conjunct Neptune. At this degree, 20 to 28, it's pretty creative. So he's always trying to come up with new ideas. And I also feel like there's something that drives him that again, the word overcompensation comes to mind. Like he has to prove something to the world. What's interesting is his Mercury. And here we get into almost a singleton mode for his Mercury in Capricorn. And so he may come off as being funny, aggressive, but he's actually quite smart, right? Anytime you get an isolated planet like that, like Mercury in the second house, whatever it is, whatever the isolated planet is through a singleton, there's a lot of intelligence there, but that's not really what you see, right? What you see is the Minecraft, the sort of the media kind of empire that he's built. The guy's worth $26 million. What's this? Oh, this is from our friend Melissa. Hey, Robert, I wanted you to be one of the first people I shared this with. Since when I came onto your show, this was something we talked about after I officially got a book deal for my military book. Thank you for encouraging me to lean in. Though it's taken time, I trust the timing deeply. I hope you're well and always sending love your way. Oh, that's so cool. That's our friend Melissa from San Antonio. Congratulations on the book deal. Your victory is our victory. So this guy's interesting, right? Not a lot of water in the chart. Emotion, not a big deal. Not a big deal for this guy. But success, very much. All right. So this thing dropped him and this whole thing, right? Dropped me into, I just want to reiterate, right? The Minecraft, it's all down here. It's all Aquarian, right? It's all online. It's all in the home. This is where the guy made his bank. So drop me into a world of internet millionaires, YouTube millionaires. Let me just quickly show you who's making the money and how much they're making. It's going to blow your mind. So we know Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is number one. Mr. Beast he feels scammy, or like he's talked about how he was approached by people. So Mr. Beast has kind of Illuminati vibes, right? He's number one. Here's number two, Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star is transgender. He goes by Scorpio. Jeffree Star does makeup for men and women. And he has a line of makeup that he has promoted. He's worth $200 million. Mr. Beast is insane. His money, so supposedly he's worth $700 million per year. I find that insane. Why is Mr. Beast one of the richest men in the world? Logan Paul, we all know who Logan Paul is. The boxer, he's got a big YouTube show. He's worth a lot of money. Now, this is where it gets bizarre. Ryan Kaji. This kid, Ryan Kaji, is worth, he's 12 years old. He is worth, get ready, $110 million. And it all started with him unboxing gifts. And his whole channel is about toys. And then he branches off and he does these little activities. Ryan and his sister learn how to ski and play in the snow. He's 12 years old. He's worth him and his parents. Ryan's World. He's got his own merchandise. He's got deals with Hot Wheels and Paw Patrol. Target markets him. Holy Christ. He makes $30 million a year. Well, him and his parents. Number 5. Like Nastya. This little girl, the Russians chime in here. How much is she worth? About 120 million. She gets about 20 million a year, right? She's worth over $100 million. Mind-blowing. Features videos originally targeted at toddlers and now young children. And stars Anna. So she is going to continue to make YouTube videos and curate her audience as she grows older. Now, what does she and this Ryan guy have in common? They're Pluto and Capricorn. These are Gen A kids. And they are worth fortunes. What about Vlad and Nikki? Oh, these two, they're fucking annoying. These two are fucking annoying. Vlad and Nikki cooking for mom. They're Russian as well. I think they live in Miami now. How much are they worth? 105 million. They got their own brand of mobile games. They got sponsorships. A recent example of them is having activities in Dubai, where they spent some of the year. They live in Miami most of the year. They were born in Russia, quickly became YouTube famous after their parents created the YouTube channel in 2018. Their content includes fun challenges, playing with toys and video games. Again, Gen A. This shit is just so... Now there's Jake Paul right there. I guess Logan is a bit more, Jake Paul's the boxer. Logan is the one that doesn't box. PewDiePie, he's an old guy now, but he's still worth a lot of money. Ninja. Now this guy is, which one is, Fortnite. This is a Fortnite guy. He's worth around how much? About 40 million. He's playing games. Now this guy, Markiplier, he started an OnlyFans channel. So he's, so he's taken his YouTube platform and then put it into the OnlyFans world. Well, some of these people are very enterprising. So we have to go all the way down here to find our guy, Unspeakable. at about 24 million. Can you imagine that? So I'm here to tell you that if you have kids, exploit the shit out of them. Start a YouTube channel right now. Right now, start a YouTube channel. You will not be sorry. Just have them unbox gifts. Right? Get some puppy. You need some props. Get some puppies. A puppy and a kid. That's where you start. Let's say you name your kid Jojo. Now, it doesn't have to be Jojo, but Jojo's a cute name. Your kid's name could be Samuel, or it could be Ryan, or it could be Brett, but call him Jojo. That is a cute kid's name. And then you have to have a puppy, right? And that's where you start. Jojo meets Maximus. Maximus is the puppy. That's a name that is way bigger than the puppy, right? Of course, you'll call him Maxie, but Jojo meets Maximus. And that's where you start. And it's the adventures of Jojo and Maximus. You do a whole fucking series of videos of Jojo and Maximus, and you will become rich. You will become rich. And you can even protect your child's identity just by changing his name. So I urge you, if you have a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, get a puppy. Don't get a little tiny dog, though, right? Because you want the dog to get bigger than the kid. Because then he'll really be Maximus. And he'll be really cute. You'll have the little kid and the big doggy, right? And they'll be buddies and friends. And then guess what you do? You introduce a kitten, right? That's the next phase. Once the dog gets big enough and people are tired of the big dog, and now you're bringing in a kitten, right? Now the kitten comes in. Now they have a little family, a little menagerie. And what do you name the kitten? Oh, it's got to be a girl's name, Penelope, right? Jojo and Maximus meet Penelope, and you call her Penny for short, right? Now you have all these videos of Jojo and Maximus and Penelope, and you can just build on that, right? And then you can have merch, right? You could have a Jojo shirt and a Maximus shirt and a Penelope shirt. Then you can have pet wear for your animals. Dog sweaters with Jojo's picture on it. The possibilities are endless. Why do mind-bending content on YouTube? Why? Don't try to rise above it. It is better below. I'll leave you with that bon mot of wisdom. All right, take care of yourselves. We'll be back over on the 15 minutes side of things, where I will continue this conversation. And also, of course, the strange, bizarre assassination on Scott Thompson. Until then, treat each other well. God bless. Take care, and bye for now.